I don't know much about you, but I can almost guarantee if you're like 99.9999999% of the population, there's one thing that I know about you. And you can tell me in the comments if I'm right or wrong. But at some point in your life, you have already committed yourself to at least 90 days, probably more, maybe 90 months of self sabotage. Maybe it was a habit that you couldn't kick. Maybe it was going on a full on bender. Maybe it was just running loops of the same patterns that consistently are keeping you stuck. But you've done it. We all have, right? Like even myself. But now here's the kicker. When it comes to positive change, most people don't even last a week. And if you do not believe me, just look at your gym January 1st in comparison to February 1st, right? And if that's you, there's no shame in the game because if you can commit to 90 days of sabotage, then you can absolutely commit to 90 days of transformation. And my promise is this. If you follow what I'm about to teach you in this video for 90 days, you will literally not be the same person ever again. And you're going to become unrecognizable and achieve all of the things that you've been saying on repeat that you want to do but have never done. Here's what I've seen after more than 15 years of working with highly sensitive, ambitious, impact-driven people from all around the world. And honestly, living it myself, right? Because I can't teach it if I don't know it. Most of the time, it's not fear of failure that's going to hold us back in life. It's the fear of our success. So maybe, like me, you were super bullied as a kid, right? So visibility doesn't feel safe. Or maybe you were raised to believe money doesn't grow on trees and it's greedy. So the moment you start earning more, something catastrophic happens in your life where all of a sudden your bank account is just empty. Or maybe you've always been the caretaker for others. So prioritizing your own needs feels selfish. Or maybe you're a content creator like me and you think that you just don't feel like posting today or you never have the time, but really it's old wiring underneath saying, who am I to be seen? Or it's not safe, right? This literally shows up everywhere in your life. Once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. You want to get fit, and suddenly there's a million reasons why you shouldn't go for that walk and tons of parties and tons of food. You want to launch the thing, and then suddenly you're reorganizing your desk instead. Those excuses that you have feel cute and real in the moment. But the truth is, honestly, most of the time, and if not all of the time, they're just your subconscious trying to keep you safe, stuck, and inside the familiar where your nervous system can feel regulated. And here's the kicker. Most people think that the problem goes away once you make it, right? Like something you struggled before will automatically just disappear when you make millions. But as someone who's worked with multiple seven-figure business owners, who's built a multiple six-figure business myself, and I can tell you that that pesky thing that everyone alludes to as imposter syndrome, it doesn't disappear if you don't deal with it, right? It often just gets worse as you grow. It literally gets louder. So this isn't an income problem. It's an inner problem. And unless you address it, you're going to end up like so many people who, even the people who finally make money, then they sabotage it or they lose it or they never enjoy it, right? And so that's why I have created and perfected the activation arc, which I'm going to share with you for free today. This system is layered, but at the end of the day, it works whether or not you're reinventing your life from rock bottom, which I've done more than once actually, or you are already great and you want to go to like from good to great to like excellent to exponential. I'm 45 now and I'm not even the same person that I was last month. And I fully expect that when I hit 46, I won't even recognize who I am today. And my plan is to be like 90 years old and running triathlons or some crazy shit because I always assume the best is yet to come. So if you're ready for that too, then buckle up because I'm about to unleash an entire system that I have literally perfected over decades that you can use to change your life. And I'm not just giving you a false promise, I'm going to prove it to you. And so just let me know in the comments and just type activated if you're ready to change your life, if you're ready to become unrecognizable, if you're going to stop saying tomorrow, 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 and let today be the tomorrow you spoke about yesterday. And it's all about awakening every single part of you that's been dormant. It's about awakening that part of you that always knew that you were born for more. It's about reactivating that version of you that can actually achieve anything. It's built on 3 key activations. I've distilled everything into 3 key activations that awaken your unstoppable self. You're also going to get access to what I call my dopamine machine, which is a fully gamified, results-based tracker that helps you not just stay on track, but upgrade every single area of your life and be celebrated constantly on repeat every 90 days. And if you haven't yet gotten access to the system, it's simple. Just comment activated below and I'm going to send it to you. You're going to get access to so many different trainings that you're not even going to find on this channel, meditations, the most epic community that I've spent, over a decade building of impact-driven, incredible humans that you'll just like pinch yourself to be like, oh my God, like I didn't know there were other people like me out there. It's like coming home in a sense. I'm just interrupting this video for a super duper Ashley Cooper quick second to offer you something that's never going to cost you a penny and that will literally transform your life. Why? Because I created Made for Millions, the very first ever 100% brand funded educational platform for entrepreneurs. That means that you can get 100% free entrepreneurial education, zero fluff, zero BS, zero gatekeeping, zero payment ever, 100% for free. Our goal is to help 1 million heart-centered, impact-driven entrepreneurs hit the 7-figure mark by 2030. And so if this is you, all you need to do is click the link below that says Made for Millions. You're going to get access to a host and an epic amount of free training, as well as an incredible community that's already racking up to the thousands. So with that being said, let's get back into your regular scheduled programming. Now, if you're already signed out for the activation arc, I'm super duper Ashley Cooper excited to have you here. This is the point where you can skip forward if you'd like to the actual training. And this is going to share with you how to fill out your workbook and to set up your own dopamine machine. And I'm going to put the timestamps below. I'm also going to go into the 3 activations and how that applies to sabotage. So you're welcome to stick around for that too. But if you're new here, this is the time where I'm going to give you a quick overview into the 3 key activations, the principle of the activation arc that makes the system work, and how the gamified dopamine machine can tie it all together for you. And you can customize it for yourself. So that being said, if you want to dive deeper into the why behind it, the psychology, the science, and all of the different layers underneath, I've also linked a full playlist below this video so that you can actually deep dive through it, video by video by video. I'm going to share with you now the 3 activations through the lens of self-sabotage, because that's the piece that we all bump up against over and over and over again. But I think it's essential to understand, like if we can't understand why we stop ourselves, how can we ever actually move forward, right? If there's always this invisible glass ceiling or this invisible brick wall that we're hitting our head against, how can we ever change? So the activation number 1 is identity. This is where sabotage starts, right? It's deep, because if deep down you don't see yourself as someone, like really deep down, who's worthy to be successful, visible, or capable, or you have certain measures by which you think you can succeed or what success looks like, you're not going to be able to achieve your goals. Activation number 2 is vision. Most people sabotage themselves here because their vision is either too small or it's too vague, or they're not doing it on repeat. When your vision isn't vivid enough, your brain won't fight for it. And if this is misaligned, you'll unconsciously stall yourself at every single corner to avoid the wrong destination. So activation number 3 is action. This is where sabotage takes the most practical form. This isn't about meditating in a cave and having $1 billion drop from the sky. This is when you're actually rewiring the habits of who you are in order to go to the next level. And it can get uncomfortable. That's why we don't stick with it, right? But it's the aligned, consistent action that's the bridge between who you are now, who you say you want to be, who you're becoming, and essentially what you're going to achieve. And here's why I linked it all to the gamified system that I call my dopamine machine. Because left to our own devices, our brain is going to reward the sabotage, right? Because there's benefit in payoff in sabotage. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it, right? There's dopamine hits that we're getting from staying in our comfort zone. But I built a tracker that actually flips the script on that. It's going to reward you for taking aligned action towards rewiring your brain to crave progress instead of sabotage. That's why the whole system is built the way it is, right? Everything literally stacks upon the thing before it. And that's why the dopamine machine is so freaking epic, if I may say so myself. The reason why I created it, just on a personal level, I joke with my friends and everyone I know that the A, you probably already can see, but the A in ADHD stands for Ashley. And even though I don't love like overly identifying with things because I always believe you can change, I'm one hyperactive mofo, right? Which means I don't just need a system that rewards me for progress. I also need one that gives me room for my perfectionism and space to be able to make mistakes, to recalibrate, to flow, and to kind of still have shiny object syndrome within it, right? That's why I created it originally, the system for myself, because I needed it. But then I realized that my clients and people all around me were getting massive results with it too. And I'd honestly never seen anything like it before. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to use the workbook and how to set it up your very own dopamine machine and how to customize it yourself so that you're going to be able to start rewiring your brain and upgrading your life in the next 90 days and beyond. Because trust me, once you start this, it's like that, what, Lay's potato chips or something like that, that advertisement, once you pop, you just can't stop. Or was that Ruffles? I can't remember. Or Pringles? I don't know. The slogan was more memorable than the brand, clearly. So make sure you grab your workbook and we're going to dive into it, and make sure you share this with a friend, because you lock in the energy and the drive and the excitement of others. So if you have a friend that you want to do this with, awesome. If not, there's friends waiting for you inside the community. And also make sure to hit that subscribe button before we get into the training. Here, without further ado, open up your workbook and let's dive into the behind the scenes training. So before we dive in, just make sure that you open up your email. You're going to find an email from me with all of your resources. The first link is going to open up the workbook for you. The second is going to give you access to your dopamine machine. And the third is going to give you a link to our private members community. And once you've done that, we're going to go through your free 90-day activation arc workbook. So make sure that you have that opened up in front of you, and let's dive right into it. So before you do anything else, you just want to make sure that you read through the important section very carefully. So now let's get into the good stuff. As you know, number one is activate your identity. This section begins by rating your current self as well as your future self. It's pretty straightforward, but you really want to dive deep into how you're going to feel. It's the nuance of everything. You really want to get into the qualities of the person you're becoming and the minutia of your next level. So look at what you believe to be true right now compared to what your future self believes. So, for example, when I couldn't afford toilet paper years ago, my old belief was that I'm a failure, I can't do anything right. And I really had a negative filter and a negative lens on the world. But I knew that I had to reframe it, right? So I began to see that every single problem was an opportunity to upgrade, and that I was just learning what I needed to go to my next level. So when you're investigating your own beliefs, get really, really clear on what you currently believe to be true and how that differs from your 10.0, 2.0, or whatever upgraded self you're working on. So, this also actually ties in to assumptions. And I'm going to do more videos on this, and I might have more up at the time of filming this, but assumptions I think are even more powerful than affirmations. What what you assume to be true is going to dictate the actions you take. So, what do you assume to be true? Do you assume that people love you? Do you assume that there are incredible partners to date, that people want to buy from you, that you just get better with age? Your actions are going to be directly related to the assumptions you make. So check in daily. Are you in or out of alignment with your assumptions? From here, you want to get into your daily habits. And some of you might know my acronym, the habits acronym, which is have alignment, be your ideal true self. The thing is, your habits solidify your identity. And those habits that you plug into daily are also going to reflect the quality of your life and how close or far you are from achieving your goals. But beyond that, I also recommend that you do 5 base habits and you have foundational habits, right? So you want to look at the habits you currently have, and you want to look at your future self and see what daily habits do they have. Because I guarantee that upgraded self has different habits than you have. They have upgraded habits, right? And so I recommend doing like 5 foundational habits, which would be, drinking water, like 3 liters of water every day, maybe going through 10,000 steps, maybe you know, I don't know, maybe it's going to the gym, depending on what you already do in your life, but you want to add these things. Like for me, it might be adding more protein. That's also why, it's like, how are you going to start your day? How are you framing your life? It's why in the military, they say, get up and make your bed first, right? Because you're waking up with a win, and every action that's going to follow that is going to subsequently feed the other actions. So I also want you to add 3 stretch habits. So these are the ones that challenge you to level up. For me, that might mean posting content daily, going live, or selling every day. For you, it might be applying for jobs, pitching yourself, or putting yourself out there socially. They should feel stretchy, but doable and not unrealistic. Like running a triathlon in 90 days, if you've never jogged before, might not be realistic, but, starting to jog and then going from jogging to running in the next 90 days, or, you know what I mean, working up to that would be far more doable. So in the workbook, I give you space for 12. Um, but you can even list like 50 if you want, and then now narrow it down to your top 8. And so you don't want to drown yourself in commitments so that you quit and give up. You just want to find that sweet spot. But I think, 8 habits for everyone is pretty doable. But again, you know yourself better than I do, clearly. So just make sure that you're doing what works for you and that you're constantly getting the rewards of having completed something. And then you can always upgrade later. That's what makes this gamified system so much better and different than others. So now we're going to move on to vision, because without a clear vision, it's easy to drift or get stuck in busy work that doesn't move you forward. So think about your 10.0 self, the version of you who's already living the life you want. What does their day look like? How do they show up? How do they spend their time, their energy, and their attention? And this isn't about vague goals like make more money or be happier. You need to be specific. Do you want to run a multi 7-figure business, be on stages speaking, publish a book? Do you want to travel the world? Do you want, what is it you want? Do you want the relationship of your dreams, the body of your dreams? What is it that you want? What are you working towards? And then you want to create and paint the clearest picture possible of that. And I'm talking about the end result, right? So if you're going to run a triathlon, you want to like picture yourself completing the triathlon. You want to visualize, maybe you running across the finish line and people cheering you along the way, and you're giving your loved ones a hug, and maybe you're receiving a medal and you can hear the crowd cheering and you can feel it in your body, and you like, you just can't wait for a drink of water and just have that refreshing, like get as clear and specific as you can be. And don't just write it down, feel it, right? If your 10.0 self walks into a room, how do they carry themselves? What decisions do they make differently than you do today? What do they say yes to, and what do they no longer tolerate? Your vision should be big enough to excite you, but again, it should be grounded enough to feel possible, and it should link in with all of the future self work that you're doing, right? So It's not about creating a fantasy that's intangible. It's about creating the reality that you're actually stepping into. This workbook gives you space to map out that vision in detail, and you're going to come back to it often because as you grow, your vision will sharpen and expand. And I recommend you doing the visualization of that scene I spoke about with, the triathlon is the example. You're going to want to visualize your scene like that 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening every single day. Now, third piece here is action because identity and vision don't mean much without daily execution. Action is where your habits meet your goals. Every single task you take on should connect back to your 10.0 self and the vision you just mapped out. Otherwise, you're going to stay busy and you're not going to move forward, right? This is where the system comes in. You're going to take your habits and the vision and your identity upgrades, and you're going to plug them into a daily plan that you're going to do for 90 days that's going to keep you aligned and on track. So think about this as your daily actions as votes for the person you're becoming. Every single post, every single workout, every single glass of water, every single action, every single pitch, it's all a vote in favor of your 10.0 self. Okay, so let's get into the template, which is probably what you've been waiting for, so you can create your very own dopamine machine. The first thing it's going to do inside the dopamine machine is ask you to create a template. All you want to do is basically, if you want to rename it, you can. Otherwise, you say use template, and it might just take a couple of seconds to populate because I have given you quite a few things in there. So be patient. If it doesn't show up straight away, it's not that it's not working. It might just take a couple of minutes to get in there and start working for you. So now that's populated, I'm going to just show you. For some reason, the step one is at the bottom here, I think, because it's a document. Okay, so step one is just essentially a onboarding document for you. There is a video there for you to watch if you want. Some of this stuff you might have already seen inside the workbook, so you can just come in and have a look if you want. Step number two is a space that you can essentially just go through and make sure that you're onboarding yourself correctly. So essentially, it's like watch the onboarding video, which you're doing right now. Make sure to download your workbook, and then it has just the top videos for each arc that you might want to watch or each activation. And so I have these for you. When you've completed them, you can just go in and click complete and it will take it off of your plate there for you. So you can just see, okay, here's what I've done. I've clicked through it. It's all finished. Step number three is going to be your dopamine machine, which we'll get into in 1 second. And step number four is just somewhere where you can come in every single day to make sure that you're staying on task with everything. So, for example, activation station on Instagram is where I'm going in and I'm leaving activations and audios to keep you inspired and in tune. I've got a link for the Reinvention Diaries video. Check in your email for updates. You can do that daily or you can do that, every few days if you want. And these will auto populate for you daily. So once you've done it every day, if I've done it today, I press complete and it's going to repopulate again for tomorrow. And if for some reason the recurring task isn't working for you, you just put here, set recurring task, create a new task, and all you do is go like that and it will repopulate for you. So inside the dopamine machine, you're going to see that I already have it listed for you day 1 to day 90. Now, I have this marked as money earned because what I like to do is go in here and be like, okay, day 1, I made $1,000. And at the end of the day, when I can see how much money I earned, I can put it at the front here. And that way, when I go in to my list every single day, I can see, oh, like day 1, I made $1,000. Day 2, I made $2,000. Day 3, I made $3,000. And you can rename this yourself as well. So if you wanted to go in and rename it, all you have to do is click on it and you can rename the task. It's super, super simple. Okay. So once you've done that, if you want to rename these, you can. I obviously like it this way, but that's the thought process behind that. Now you can mark down your start date. I can put mine as today. And you can also rate yourself. So I've created a rating system where I give myself flames because I like the idea that, even if your flame feels small one day, you still have a spark. And all you need is to like put gasoline on the flame again and it could be infinite. So I have, infinite flames, 5 flames. That's how I rate myself. But if you want to create and edit this and make a different rating system for yourself, you can, right? So all you need to do in that instance is come in here, you edit the field, and you can even change the name up here if you want. You could put in a star if you want, for example, if you want to have like rate yourself with stars, and you could, 5 stars if you wanted, right? Not stars. And you can, put stars here instead of flames if you wanted. You can also change the color. So if you wanted to go in here and change the color, you just click this little drop here and you can change the color, and you can do whatever you want. If you want to remove a column completely, you can just delete the field or you can hide the column. It's totally up to you. So when you arrive here, you're going to see a couple of things are already here, and then you're going to see like habit one, habit two, habit three, et cetera, et cetera. So I always have visualization here and I always have gratitude here because I think those are the two cornerstones of any, important activation. But because the visualization, I do tell you to do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. If you wanted to, you could create an AM and a PM column and give yourself points for both. So how you would do that if you wanted to is just duplicate the column, and I would go in here and I would put edit field, and you might do visualization AM. Now that's done. And you would go in here and you would select edit column, and you go at visualization PM, and that's how that's done. So in terms of the gratitude list, I have created columns here for you at the end where you can take notes every day. Like you could be like, today was an amazing day, and here's everything that happened, and here's what I learned. You could just take notes if you want, or here's how I could do better. Your gratitude list, you can actually come in here and keep your gratitude list in here, which I love. And I like having a section for wins. So you can, come in here and write your wins that you've had every single day. And, I like giving myself bonus points. So sometimes in the notes, I'll say, oh, 700 bonus points. And today those bonus points were, helping someone out and being selfless, or, doing extra Ks on the treadmill or whatever that might be for you. So I like taking notes. If you wanted to create another column like that, again, you could just duplicate it and edit the field name. Or you could actually customize your own field and create a text area here. On YouTube, there's tons of videos on how to customize and use this platform, but I'm just giving you kind of like a basic overview on how you can actually use this system yourself. You can also download the app, and I love having it on the app on my phone because it really does feel gamified, and you can see the whole thing on your phone, which is really, really cool. So you could do it on your desktop or your phone, which is awesome. So each of these columns is actually set, as you're going to see here, as a currency. So I have these, so it's always going to populate as money. So you could actually change this if you wanted to, reward yourself in a different way. But I think rewarding yourself with money, it's a really good way to activate your brain to like be able to receive more, right? Receive more wealth, receive, I think we all want to receive more money, right? So I think it's a really, really great way to kind of manifest and bring that energy in of making money even outside of the game. So you're going to see that. And you can, for me, I do $100 per activity, but you could do whatever you wanted, right? Like you don't have to, you could do $1,000 a day, you could do $2,000 a day. It's up to you, right? The sky's the limit, really. But I like doing it $100 a day, and I just keep that, either I make the point or I don't. Okay. And then at the end of every single day, we can tally the points, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But before we do that, I just wanted to address the fact that it says the habits. So you're going to remember that when we were inside the workbook, you listed out your 8 habits, and this is where you plug them in. Okay. So you'll go in here and you'll edit field, and you'll do, like, let's say it's 10,000 steps today. Okay. Awesome. Go in here and edit the field. Maybe it's like drink 3 liters of water. Okay. And if you're an entrepreneur, because most of my people are, you might want to do 5 sales calls, uh, maybe posted content every day, and whatever, right? So you can fill in your own thing, and you can decide what your bonus points are. So that's how you can edit these, and all of those habits that you put in your workbook, this is where you're going to want to put them. Again, if you want to add more habits, you can duplicate the column. If you want to remove a habit, you can delete the column. It's all fully customizable. Now, when it comes to earning money, there's 2 things I like to do. Number 1, so let's just say I have $100 here and I have $200 here. I like to go down each of these columns and actually calculate them, right? Oops, sorry. So you should be able to, and it might be an extra paid feature. So if it is, don't bother doing it unless you want to. But essentially, you can have each category show you how much money you've made in each category. So I love this because I can see which of my habits are making me the most money and which habits I need to do more work on. Then the other thing that I do is every single day, I can tally up my points and see how much money I made. Now, this is the only thing that you're going to have to customize yourself, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So in order to create your column that tallies up all of your money that you've made per day, you're going to go in here and you're going to type in formula. And you can name this whatever you want. I'm going to put a money bags here, and I'm going to put money whatever you want to call it. Sometimes I put it called cha-ching, which I like. And I always move this right after bonuses, right before notes, so that it's all separated. So once you've created this column, you're going to go into this section here and you want to click on Advanced Editor. Once you're in Advanced Editor, you want to click on Variables, and you're going to see a whole bunch of different variables here. They're all going to match the ones that you have up here, okay? So what you want to do is take habit number 1, and then you just want to click that and put the plus sign. You can see up here, the plus sign, awesome. Habit number 2, 10,000 steps, plus sign. Habit number 3, plus sign. And you go through the list of all of your habits, okay? And then once you've added the last habit, you leave it and you press calculate. Now you can see that it's going to actually keep track of all of the money I made. You have it on your phone. It's really cool too, because you can see, like, it looks really, really gamified as an app. So if I wanted to do bonus points, you can see it just added there in real time. And if for some reason, okay, so I just went in to add bonus points, but it's not reflecting, right? I'm not seeing it in here. You just want to go in and make sure that you have bonus points added, which I don't, right? So you just want to go in here. That was a really good real-time mistake that I could see. So you press the plus sign and you add bonuses, then you press calculate. So what some people do like doing, and it's up to you, and it depends on how you operate and what feels good to you, but some people like doing deductions. So let's say you're quitting drinking and you had a drink today. It's not about a punishment, but it's like something that could keep you accountable, okay? So let's put drink here. I don't know. So what you can actually do in your tracker, so let's say you had 2 drinks, so that's like minus 200. Uh-oh. So, okay. So now you can go in here. Actually, and as I said, all you need to do is go in here, and instead of putting a plus sign, you would put a minus sign, you would put the variable, you would put drink, calculate, and you don't have to do this every single time, only every time you make an adjustment, by the way. So now you can see that you had the deduction. So you could have made 900, but you're now making 7. So that's not a necessary thing. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Like if I'm feeling like I don't want to be a perfectionist and I feel like it's just putting me in a negative place, I don't want to do it, but sometimes I find it fun. So that's it. That's the tracker. Super simple, super effective, super fun. And now you know exactly how to set up and use your very own dopamine machine. I hope you love this training. And I hope you get in there and start getting into your activation arc workbook. Here is what I would love for you to do next. Drop a comment below and let us know that you're activated, what you're working on, what you're excited about creating, and celebrate 3 other people at the same time. Because this is what our community is about, right? This is what separates us from others online. We just don't expect to get that dopamine hit of being celebrated, but we give also what we want to receive, and we celebrate others and we honor their work and their journey. And I think that's what makes this community so super duper and unique.